Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have a bunch of stories from New Jersey of weird cryptids. All of them are very interesting, folks. Either way, let's get into talking about these weird cryptids now with this article titled Horned Bipeds and Forest Phantoms, 1976 Blackwood Encounter, and read exactly what was seen back then. In the late summer of 1976, as Hurricane Belle loomed off the New Jersey coast, a routine horseback ride near Blackwood turned into a terrifying confrontation with an unknown creature. The detailed account, later corroborated by local police recollections, is one of several strange encounters reported in the forests and rural corridors of southern New Jersey. What exactly roamed these wooded trails that day remains a lingering question that some people think might be, well, the Jersey Devil, or some other horned cryptid hominid that exists in that part of the world and country, folks. Either way, let's continue. On August 9, 1976, a mother and her daughter set out on horseback along familiar dirt trails near the Lakeland area outside Blackwood. The weather was windy, and they hoped to enjoy one last ride before the approaching coastal storm. Their path ran close to a junkyard and through stretches of quiet woodland. As they neared one section of forest, the usual sounds of birds and small animals abruptly ceased. The silence felt unnatural. Moments later, a crow cried out 3 times. Their horses immediately became agitated and difficult to control. Ahead of them, approximately 100 feet up the trail, they noticed a strange figure. At first glance, the shape appeared almost like a large dog positioned atop a horse. The creature stood roughly 6 feet tall and was turned away, scratching its back against a tree. Curious and uneasy, the riders followed at a cautious distance as it began moving up the path. When it turned to face them, the witnesses could observe its features more clearly. The being had pale whitish hair marked by dark spots along the hips. Horns protruded from its head. Its eyes were red and slanted, and its face ended in a pig-like snout. It stood upright on 2 legs, its hooves cloven. Its forelimbs resembled arms, ending in large clawed hands. Saliva dripped from its mouth as it watched them. It almost sounds like basically, well, like they're describing an orc here, folks. Or another, well, fantasy type of entity, a troll. But let's read further, folks. Suddenly, the creature leapt into the trail with its arms spread wide, lowering its head as though preparing to charge. The primary witness, well, later described entering a trance-like state, feeling detached from the danger unfolding in front of her. Her daughter's urgent warning broke the spell, prompting them to turn their horses around. At that moment, the creature rushed toward them with surprising speed. Tucking its arms close to its body as it ran, it attempted to grab one of the horse's tails, but failed as the riders spurred their mounts into a full retreat. When the witnesses glanced back, the entity had stopped and was standing motionless on the trail. Soon afterward, they encountered a Washington Township police officer near the junkyard and reported the encounter. While he began taking notes, the creature suddenly reappeared. All present reportedly watched as it vaulted an 8-foot fence into the junkyard, galloped past the patrol vehicle, and vanished into the woods beyond. The witnesses later learned that a local rancher had discovered one of his horses dead in a nearby field, its abdomen torn open. Decades after the event, both mother and daughter maintained vivid memories of the encounter. Subsequent inquiries by researchers suggested that local officers did acknowledge unusual sightings in the area during that period, including reports of a large flying animal observed by patrol units. But what were these animals? Were they some sort of cryptids, folks? I mean, in that part of the world, New Jersey, there's the talk of the Jersey Devil, and these sound like such entities, especially the flying ones. Could they be Mothmen? That could also basically be another way to explain it away, folks. Or I guess not explain it away, but give a culprit to who this was. But either way, folks, let's move on to related regional encounters. Jackson Township Upright Creature Report. In October 1982, a motorist traveling along Bowman Road near Jackson Township reported a tall, bipedal figure covered in reddish-brown hair running across the roadway ahead of her vehicle. The creature displayed remarkable speed and moved upright with a long, collie-like face before disappearing into the surrounding woodland. Okay, so this sounds like basically a dog Mothman-like entity, folks. So along with basically these, trollish-looking entities, because remember that story with the 2 horseback riders? They said that it looked like, a big hulking horned entity, but they also mentioned that it had pig-like features or a snout, so more along the lines like, a fantasy orc perhaps, folks. Maybe. I mean, there's a Japanese variant monster that basically is mentioned as having pig-like features, so this entity does sort of sound like that. In video games, they're mostly called orcs, basically along those kinds of variants, folks. You get the idea. Either way, the next story is Wharton State Forest Park Ranger Encounter. In December 1993, Park Ranger John Irwin encountered a large, dark figure along a deserted road beside the Maluka River in Wharton State Forest, illuminated by headlights. The being appeared to be over 6 feet tall, with matted black fur and powerful hind legs. It reportedly blocked the road momentarily, revealing piercing red eyes before crossing upright into the forest in a rigid, almost mechanical gait. So, some people have mentioned that some cryptids, particularly, ones that the UFO community have commented on such entities, folks. And some of the stories that they've gathered, they've seen cryptids walk away with a mechanical gait, and it's been theorized that maybe there's some sort of robot, even if they looked organic. While this entity looks more like, a monster, folks, maybe it's along the same lines, perhaps. Either way, once again, let's get back to the article, because the next section is important. Broader southern New Jersey pattern. Southern New Jersey has long been associated with reports of anomalous bipeds, horned creatures, and winged entities. Historical accounts tied to the Jersey Devil tradition, as well as modern sightings of upright canines and large unidentified animals, suggest that the Pine Barrens and adjacent wooded regions serve as a persistent hotspot for high strangeness encounters. Environmental isolation, dense forest cover, and extensive wetland corridors may contribute to both wildlife misidentification and the concealment of unknown fauna. Here's some commentary. This Blackwood encounter displays several recurring patterns seen in regional anomalous creature reports. These include sudden environmental silence, strong animal distress reactions, trance-like psychological effects on witnesses, and hybridized anatomical features combine mammalian and ungulate traits. The aggressive charge behavior and apparent territorial response also align with other upright cryptid narratives. The presence of horns, cloven hooves, and a pig-like snout evokes folkloric parallels to traditional descriptions of the Jersey Devil, though the bipedal stance and fur covering introduce additional complexity. The latter Jackson and Wharton State Forest cases demonstrate continuity in signs of upright, red-eyed forest beings across multiple decades. These patterns may indicate a persistent unknown species, culturally influenced perception phenomena, or a more exotic, ultra-terrestrial or interdimensional manifestation interacting episodically with human observers. So that's a possibility, folks. So, what are these horned entities in New Jersey and perhaps beyond, folks? Because I've, heard of other stories of horned entities, particularly this one upright hominid with 3 horns that was basically seen in a forest. Maybe it was the Pine Barrens, but I'm not quite sure, folks. But the Pine Barrens also probably play a hand in all of this, because that is where most of the signs with, the so-called Jersey Devil take place, folks. I would imagine these other horned entities were also seen in the Pine Barrens, folks. Then again, there's also talk of, people seeing UFOs and ghosts in the Pine Barrens too, so seeing these types of horned entities is not surprising. Could they be demons, folks? That would basically be, the one angle that a lot of people would jump to, folks, because they are horned, upright, bipedal beings, folks, so that does sound like it could be. Or is there another explanation? Are these some sort of drones, perhaps? Maybe given some sort of outer shell to basically, make them look like monsters, folks? Do you suppose that maybe the government's testing some sort of, robotic, like entities in the forest there, folks? It's a stretch, but it's an idea. Either way, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics that are bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in descriptions of the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure you hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.